And whose team is this? Is this your team, or is this your daddy's team?
Thanks for listening to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. Here's your host, Andy Carlson.
Welcome back to the Dad Mode Podcast, common sense parenting in a politically correct world. I'm your host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter. I'm a father. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you and either they're chiefy, so let's try and learn something together today. The website is dadmopod.com. Twitter of the show is at dadmopod. Also on facebook.com/dadmopodcast. I think, yeah. Like the page, we need your thumbs, or just use the hashtag dadmode on any social media site, and we'll get at you. Joining me back in studio today is Uncle Nick. Follow him on Twitter at NickSon. Hey.
Andy, how's it going?
I'm doing phenomenal.
I don't think the rest of the world thinks
despite what Twitter and certain corners of Facebook may tell you, the world is not over. And yeah, that's what we want to do the whole episode on today. The thing that drives me up the wall and the whole wet blanket sort of playing the victim angle of when anything traumatic happens, or not even traumatic, like what is perceived by that person, that parent, to be traumatic. It's, how do I explain this to my children? How do I look my child in the eye and explain this? It's like, how do I look into, Nick, tell me, Lord, how do I look into the eyes of my one and a half year old daughter and explain how the Electoral College works and how the political candidate that I may not see eye to eye ideologically was democratically elected via the system we have in place? How do I, Nick, look my child in the face tomorrow morning and explain this?
I'd start off with some nice warm, Pop-Tarts, the frosted kind. You want to sugarcoat this news to your children who may or not be able to take it that well. They probably don't even know what a president is, though, so they should be fine.
Here's my whole thing. Let kids be kids. Do you think that your 6-year-old kid wants to have the explanation of white privilege or institutional racism or the school-to-prison pipeline or anything that is, don't want to say nonsense because then I get in trouble, but jamming that down their throats at 6 years old? No. They should be playing video games. They should be playing football with their friends. They should be having fun. Let them be a kid. Don't project your perceptions of the world and your being the victim, etc., on them.
Nothing has actually happened yet. That's, I think, the big key. That's the moral of the story right there. Nothing has happened. We elected a president, and there's been no other action since. There's nothing guaranteed, nothing set in stone of what may or may not happen. We can talk about throughout the show. The perceptions of who we elected, who many people liked, many people didn't like, who got elected. That's all that happened Tuesday night.
Well, here's my thing, too. And I don't identify with a certain political party. I guess if you're going to shoehorn me a gun to my head, I'd probably say libertarian. But even that isn't a perfect fit. And also, that, by the way, that's how I feel like people should approach their political party affiliations. Because, I'm kind of on the conservative side, but also I believe in pro-choice. But if you do that, you can't be a Republican. You can't be GOP. That's why these dividing cookie-cutter lines are just kind of BS. And full disclosure, I did not vote for Trump. I also did not vote for Hillary. You did not either. I think we each picked different third party. Who'd you vote for? Tell me.
Whoa, that is none of your business. But I went libertarian. I went Gary Johnson.
Who?
Gary Johnson.
No, I'm just kidding. I went Evan McMullen. Go Mormons. BYU. Yeah. And yeah, so here's the thing: every time the Republican gets into power, whether it be the president, Reagan coming in, George W. Bush coming in, they're always browbeaten on the campaign trail before election that they are the racists. They are the white elite. They are the power mongers. And they're going to bring back Jim Crow laws. They're going to resegregate schools. They're going to repeal Roe v. Wade. They're going to eliminate gay marriage, which is the new thing with Trump. But that never happens. Saying objectively, I was alive during the time, but I was mostly a child. It seems like, by all accounts, Ronald Reagan, pretty decent, fairly down the middle. George W. Bush, maybe not so much, but again, it wasn't the end of the world. He kind of had 9/11 and the housing crisis thrown onto his plate. And I've been reading this in a bunch of places where it is kind of the boy who cried wolf. Well, sorry, since it's not politically correct to say boy. The person who cried wolf in the Republican candidates of John McCain and Mitt Romney, they were beating people over the head with a flip-flop. Like, these guys are racist. These guys are supported by racists, and how dare you? Then you actually have a person who is actually kind of catering to the racists, and then it's like, we don't believe you. Like, does anyone really think that Mitt Romney is a white supremacist? No. Or John McCain, a decorated war hero? Do you think he wants to round up all the black people and send them back to Africa, or eliminate the Muslim faith? No, not really.
He might do it to the Koreans. So.
Oh, no. John McCain has beat with the Vietnamese. I mean, Nick, that's very racist. We are very separate people.
I don't remember which war he was in.
We're as different as Czechs and Slovakians, Nick.
What? No, have you looked at a map? No, it's not how... They're not different at all.
Yeah. And here's how I'm gonna explain this to Margaret and my kids. Like, first of all, I never want them to feel like they're marginalized or being a victim, no matter what circumstance comes up, because most of the time, the reality, they're not, right? And this whole chip on your shoulder of it's me against the establishment, I'm never going to succeed because they're holding me down, and invisible powers, invisible hands. And this whole going through your life with a victim mentality, it's bad. Now, if you're truly victimized, sure, you go about it in that fashion. But just coming into any given situation that this person's racist, this person's misogynistic, this person is homophobic, that's a bad approach.
This podcast, I'm going to view it more from everyone who's causing trouble on Facebook, or like everyone who's venting. I don't normally talk about politics here, but I've 9,000 words. I've done that. I've done the exact same thing, I think, for the last 2 weeks. So guilty of that. But
So first off, no one gives a shit about your opinion. But sorry, go ahead. Oh, no, not you specifically, but well, I don't remember. Well, but
he was
the person
kind of looking at me, but not.
Like the person writing it, like, I understand you want a vent, and I understand that you want the warm, comfy feeling of, like a dozen people liking your post, and cool, but no one really gives a shit. Like, no matter which side you're on, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever, no one cares.
I think a lot of people on Facebook care, though. They don't care, but they care enough to want to write stuff. I'm watching a crazy ass thing on Facebook with a former professor of mine and a former classmate of mine.
Are they going at it?
They're going kind of.
That's very unbecoming of a professor.
They're kind of going at it.
I'm guessing he has tenure.
Yeah,
or she. Sorry, that's not politically correct unless you say he or she or they.
It's scary on Facebook right now, and as I said, from the Hillary side, I guess, the Hillary part of me, because I consider myself both Hillary and Trump. It's shocking. I mean, in general, I didn't think he was going to win.
Mm-hmm. No one thought they were going to win.
No one. It was always projected. So I'll punch in the media for totally not forecasting this wrong. It's like, oh, it's a bright sunny day, then like a tornado came through.
I think the media shit the bed because they did not want to even entertain the idea that Trump was going to win. That's why watching like CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC's coverage is just like shell shocked. Like they had no idea what to do because they did not expect. I have this conspiracy theory that Hillary did not give a concession speech the night of the election because her staff didn't have one written. I actually truly believe that.
I assume she was just crying all night and just needed a few hours of sleep because obviously this election thing is 2016, but it takes hours and hours to ballot everyone's votes. So I mean, it took until I think 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning until we could actually see that Trump did win. So I went.
They're still counting votes in some places. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think Michigan. I think Arizona might still be.
Here's the thing that I want to Muggsy. If you're listening to this, 12, 15 years from now, or future children, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that facts are not feelings, and everyone is applauding. Was a guy named Van Bell or some African American gentleman on CNN after it had been clear that Trump won, that he called this was a white lash back at minorities. Except then if you look at the polling data, Trump actually had less of the white vote than Romney did in 2012. And why he won is because the turnout for the Democratic nominee, Hillary, was way down from Obama in 2008. He scaled it back a little bit in 2012, but still beat Romney handily. And just support for Hillary just absolutely crumbled. And I understand that it is, running with the narrative that, hey, white man, very angry about a black man president and liberals starting to get power, so he just came out. He just came out from a shanty with his shotgun and got in his pickup truck and came out and voted. But that's not what the facts are, and it's frustrating because there will be a whole other generation of parents and their kids that are leftward leaning that are going to tell them that this was the election that the white man won, when it's absolutely not the truth at all.
I think a lot of people didn't want to vote for Hillary because
she's terrible.
A lot of people just don't like that same as usual politics. I mean, I know the criticisms of Hillary. I know the criticisms of Trump. We all do. I think the stuff with Hillary though is just, people don't want politics as usual. They want something different. And Trump, I think, came up as a better choice. And
definitely the lesser of two evils, because Hillary, I get that the email stuff is an issue, but I just see her as just what you don't want in a politician, just pandering to whatever crowd that whatever constituency. She's so fake, and that was my biggest issue with her. Like, even beyond like the Clinton body count and beyond like Whitewater and Vince Foster and all that stuff, and just on the surface of her when she moved to New York to become a senator, and then she's like, I've always been a lifelong Yankees fan. And then when she was trying to win Illinois, which ended up being a swing state, and she was like, I've always been a Cubs fan. Go Cubs! Yeah, and just like, if you're flippant enough with that, with something as trivial as a sports team, I don't trust you with major issues. As dumb as that may sound, that's kind of like my barometer of gauging if someone is genuine or not. Like Obama, I understand that Obama doesn't have to win any political points anymore because he's senioritis. He's got spring semester of your senior season. He's like, deuces, I'm out. But if he was up for re-election, say that this is the first term and he's trying to campaign for the second term. He's from Chicago, a huge White Sox fan, right? I almost said Black Sox, but that doesn't make sense because that was the 1919 Black Sox. Huge White Sox fan. And if he was running for re-election, I don't think he would have done like the two-faced thing of like, well, go Cubs, that whole thing. I really don't think he would have. And as dumb as that may seem, where I base my political opinions about like sports affiliations, I think that says a lot about his character, as opposed to, hey, I'm not going to bend on this dumb issue because I don't want to be two-faced. I don't want to be a panderer.
I like that. No, I like that. I like that analogy with the Cubs and the White Sox.
And also something that I don't want my kids to ever do is just massively make a mountain out of a molehill sort of thing. And I understand well, I have a daughter, so I was obviously offended when Trump said, you just grab her by the I understand it, but think of the context. It was a private conversation. Him and Billy Bush were just kind of shooting the shit, and just a conversation between two gentlemen. And I think it's funny that Billy Bush got fired.
Oh yeah. No,
it's so dumb. But that's the sort of culture that we built up. Is like, oh, he did not stop that conversation. Be like, Donald, I'm offended, and you need to stop talking about the subject right now, or I'm leaving this bus. I'm leaving this tour bus, Donald. And he got fired because he didn't say that, because he was conducting an interview, and he was trying to get the most out of his guest, and he was trying to actually pander. He was actually just trying to get him going, because that led to a better interview. And like, could you imagine Billy Bush's producer if Billy Bush was like, I'm offended. I need to go to my safe space, and this is over. This producer would be like, stop being a pussy. No, wait.
The correct thing he was supposed to do was be like, change the subject.
Yeah, and putting in a vacuum, I get like the accusations of Trump sexual assault that will be dealt with down the line, and that'll be vetted out through the legal system, whatever. But the left picking up on the quote from the Access Hollywood or wherever it was, grabbing her by the and saying Donald Trump admits that he sexual assaults women. He sexually assaults women and brags about this. Is this who you want as your president? And I never want my kids to do that, where they'd be like, say they're playing on the playground. Like Margaret's playing with another girl. Maybe she doesn't get along with them. And the other girl like budges in front of Muggsy in line and like bumps her like in the shoulder. I never want my daughter to fall down on the ground like she just got shot by a 12 gauge and be like, she hit me. I was assaulted. How dare. And that's the childhood equivalent of what happened in a lot of times in this election cycle, especially from the left. And like that news reporter who said that she was assaulted by the Trump guy, Ledowski, where he just grabbed her elbow to usher her out of the way.
I remember that.
That's assault.
I don't remember that. Oh, yes. Okay. Yep. I remember that. Okay.
Honestly, like, just to use the term, like, when did we become just a country of just completely soft pussies? No, that like legit. Like, why is everything an assault, an attack, a microaggression, everything like that? What? And also, by the way, since my daughter is half minority, she is going half Asian. She is going to be a minority her entire life. Let's say a white person, a black person, a person of a different ethnicity than her, get into a disagreement or have a spat, or someone's just an ass in public. Like, I never want her first thought to be, well, this person was an asshole because they are racist against me. No, I want the first thought to be, this person is an asshole. Because how many times has it been where you see a person of one race and then some asshole incident happens? Like, say a cashier was curt with a person of a different race, and all of a sudden that cashier is racist.
Wait, what was that? Curt?
Like kind of short, kind of rude.
Oh, okay.
That cashier is racist against me. It's almost poison to walk around like that, to think that how people treat you is always based upon your race, especially negatively. And it's bad. I mean, people are assholes first and foremost. It's always like cops are racist. Cops are just kind of assholes. But yeah,
I'm a cop.
You're not a cop.
I wanted to be. No.
And it's funny. It's also like why do people get so easily offended by things now? Is it social media? Is it a generational thing? Is it millennials? I don't get it. But everything, it's a running joke of logging onto Facebook or Twitter or whatever and be like, all right, internet, what are we offended by today?
It gets a lot of clicks, whatever it is. Though I mean, like when you say the words attack, I mean that's why I use the words attack. I'm more interested. I'm not interested in clicking in something that says woman pushed aside at a Trump rally. I want to hear the word. I want to see the words attacked or molested or something. You want that came out sideways. But I mean, there are those big taboo words that people need to use. I mean, that's how you get the attention. It's attention. We want attention and everything. We want someone to acknowledge. If I'm posting something on Facebook, I want someone to like my status or maybe to not like my status. I want that attention. I think a lot of societies like that.
And it's so stupid because it takes so much mental energy to be constantly offended by something. Or if someone uses the wrong word or wrong phrase or does not address Caitlyn Jenner as a he or a she or whatever properly, and always going around and saying, this person's racist. That person is sexist. That person is misogynist. That person is transphobic. That person is homophobic, etc. It's tiring. And I think at the bottom line, people eventually just get tired of it, of always being shushed, always being corrected, always being looked down upon by their nose by by the way, the people always doing the correcting or the dishing out the labels of the racist, the homophobe, the da-da-da, they're elitists. They are the elitists. I'm not talking about like rich white Connecticut, like old money elitists. And it can take any shape or form. But if you're out there constantly offended, always looking for a fight, that's a bad way to go through life because you're always going to be the victim. You're always going to look like an asshole correcting everyone. And it's not good. I'm going to make a very tough and concerted effort to make sure that Muggsy and our future kids do not fall into that sort of trap, because if it truly is a generational thing, I think it'll get worse with the next generation of kids, because these parents of the ones that are constantly offended, constantly on Facebook, on Twitter, being like, how dare you? I'm disgusted. This could not pass. This person is a racist. Thanks, Obama. Wait, no. He's a black president. Thanks, Trump. And these kids are just going to grow up to be gigantic, colossal, playing the victim, blaming other people for their station in life, not taking any personal accountability, pussies. That's what they're going to be.
You don't want Muggsy doing that? Showing him a picture of protesters right now saying fire the dummies of Trump.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, once they count all these votes, Trump might actually win the popular vote. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And so it's oh, well, shit, we're still mad. I mean, so we're still going to burn American flags. And I also want to convey this to her. It's maybe you didn't vote for Trump. Maybe he is not your guy. But and all the whole, well, he's not my president. Well, he kind of is. And I would say the same thing to the right when Obama was elected twice. I'm saying, well, he ain't my president. Well, yeah, he kind of is. And someone had a great analogy. I forget who it was. I think it's kind of in the zeitgeist now. But rooting for a president who you didn't vote for to fail is like rooting for the pilot of the plane you're in to crash.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. No, that really brings into perspective, actually.
And the thing I want to convey is just of resiliency. It's something didn't go your way. Well, let's make the best out of it. And, instead of protesting, which you're not going to get the election overturned anyways in the history of ever. That's why they have the Electoral College. Sorry, but those are the rules. If you don't like it, write your congressman, and maybe we'll get the Electoral College change for next election. But those are the rules, and Trump won by them. And yes, he may not have been the one you voted for him. He may not be the one that you wanted. He may not be the one that you see eye to eye with, and you may actually downright hate a couple of his stances that he spewed out on the campaign trail while he pandered to his constituents. But make the best out of it. Work with the guy. Give him a chance. Maybe he'll surprise you. And like most presidents, they kind of go and spouting whatever high pie in the sky stuff, but when it comes down to brass tacks, it's hard to get things done. Like Obama trying to shut down Gitmo. Yeah, it's still open. Trump's going to open up a golf course in Gitmo. It's going to be great.
I'll see if I can get tickets.
All the sheiks.
As long as they're mini golf, I don't do the real big golf. I like what you said there at the end, though. I mean,
But everything else was shit. Sorry.
Everything else Andy said was crap. Sorry, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. As I said, I'm someone who wasn't in any particular side of being for Clinton and against Trump. So, one thing I want to say is that let's say Hillary won. Let's say this was all. Let's say all the numbers were reversed and Hillary did win. There'll be just as much crap from the other side, I think, as much as Hillary.
Yeah.
So, but enough. I mean, no more what ifs. That's kind of shady to think about. Anyways, I just want to end with that these last couple of days, the night Trump, accepted winning, I think overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, and we were recording here on Thursday. He talked to Obama, and it almost seems like a 180 with Trump. Where I mean, he was calm, he was collective, he wasn't. Which I think many people would think that he would be gloating or being kind of an ass about. He was very mature, responsible about it. And
I completely beat Hillary Clinton. She ran a terrible campaign, and we have won, and we have taken back the White House. But the White House is not Trump Tower. I'm moving the Oval Office to Trump Tower, New York, because that's a real city.
I was making jokes that they're probably just going to turn the White House into a giant skyscraper.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to. I think a lot of people, and I was one of them who was afraid when if Trump got elected, we would see this. And you can blame the media. We could do a media argument in another podcast. I mean, showing a lot of people see the dark side of Trump, the things that he said. These last 2 days, I didn't see any of that, and I think there's kind of a set into reality where. Trump might not actually, and we talked about with Gitmo with Obama, he's probably not going to be that scary. And, I think, we just have to be calm and cool, and we got to take this day by day, folks.
What annoys me the most is the people who go out of their way to try and just get brownie points and, pat themselves on the back of how good a person they are. And a lot of it is the white people who put out on like social media, to all my Muslim and black and immigrant friends, because I have so many of them because I'm such a good person. I just want you to know that you are not alone, that this white person does not hate you. And if there's anything you need, you just let me know. Unless it's something more than just tweeting the self-congratulatory tweet so that I can get a dozen favorites and I can feel like a good person. I am the best person ever.
And that person's going to go to heaven, and I still won't.
No, I completely understand. Keep fighting the good fight, and just because your candidate is not in the White, who knows? Maybe Hillary would have gone back on some of her campaign promises. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And even though the Republicans are in the House and in the Senate, it's not going to be apocalypse. Like tomorrow, people aren't going to be rounded up in buses and shipped out of the country. We're not going to start a war with Russia, and we're not building a wall. All right. And
I thought we were going to join Russia.
Yeah, no problem. Also, it's kind of funny. It's like people are like, well, how could you elect Trump? He gets along so well with Putin. Well, it's like, don't we kind of want them getting along? Like if they're kind of like really pissed at each other and ready to just throw down whenever, wouldn't that be worse? But what do I know? I just have a brain.
Combine the two superpowers of the 80s, man. That's
also,
awesome.
Best thing about being a minority is that I can say whatever the hell I want. It is great. It is great. Because could you imagine this entire podcast? Well, actually, a couple new listeners might not know that I am full-blooded Asian. But could you imagine this podcast if I was a white guy? He'd be like, Andy Carlson, that cracker son of a bitch, just out there spewing hatred and ignorance from his basement. But since I'm a minority, it's like, oh, well, this is a rational, thought-out, sober, objective take. It's great.
I like you. I like you, Southern white guy voice.
See, the best thing about it is that I am basically like a 57-year-old white guy. Basically.
Yeah. I've known Andy a number of years.
But it also buys into the hypocrisy that I can't be wrong because I'm a minority. And I feel like, again, not every minority group does this, but there are certain liberties taken in it, especially. Oh, wait, no, I can't say anything about women because I still am a man.
He's kind of like a man, yeah. Yeah.
How dare you?
Bob's so funny, so funny.
Also, to put a bow on this, I know it's been kind of more cathartic than anything, but the thing that I want to instill in Margaret is get facts before you make a decision. Like we talked about, facts are not feelings. And it is really funny on Twitter watching. There's 2 tweets that got circulated and retweeted like a couple thousand times, and it was a fake quote from a Trump 1998 Trump interview, supposedly saying that if I want to run for president, I'll run as Republican because those people are so dumb. Da da da. It is a fake quote. But it got passed around like it's legit and gospel, and people were just grasping for any sort of thing to back up what they're feeling inside their head, even though it's not true. So, who's that on? Is it okay to believe in a lie if it makes you feel better? No, not really, because facts are not feelings. The other one was, it was from is either a parody account or just someone being dumb, but it was the tweet. Essentially paraphrasing here, but I'm at a New York, a Manhattan Trump rally, and they're chanting, "We hate Muslims, we hate blacks, da da da, take our country back," that sort of thing. That got retweeted like a couple tens of thousand times. It wasn't true. It was not true. But people retweeted it, and then were like, "Disgusting, disgraceful. This is our country. Good game, America. I guess we're going to Canada." Bullshit. No one's going to Canada. I mean, this is our country, and it's still worth fighting for. It's still worth trying to make better. It's not perfect, but hey, we can get a little better every now and then.
You're telling me social media, there was a lie on social media?
Yeah.
We don't live a life like that one movie with, what's his name from the UK office?
Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. There was a movie called, The Theory of Lying, where we live in a society where everyone tells the truth and no one lies. You're telling me people lie on Twitter?
Yeah.
It is hard to base fact from fiction, and in many details of our world, it's just my big why I was really happy to do this episode with you, Andy, was this. Myself love social media. The last couple days, I hated social media, and one, I realized I have friends on both sides, so I like to go back and forth, play devil's advocate, because I says I'm kind of neutral in all this, because I didn't vote for either of them. But it's so depressing, and I don't see too many hate stuff, but I mean, there's hate stuff out there, and that's not what I want. Little Muggsy, my future kids, I don't want them to be part of that,
Also, I've been avoiding Facebook, but I kind of have to be on Twitter for work stuff. But the thing I also get hand down is when you're having a discussion or even an argument, don't discuss or argue like a moron, right? And here's what morons do: they argue a piece of the corner. I call it arguing the corners that they can stake their claim on, even if it has nothing to do with the topic. Where it's I actually think Trump has a better domestic plan for the economy, lowering corporate taxes and enticing corporations to stay or come back to the United States or in certain sectors create jobs. But the moron comes in and argues well, do you trust someone in charge of the economy who said that they grab women by the Do you? First off, that is bad what he said, but it has no real effect of what is going on here.
People are, I mean, that's what people are upset about is he said a lot of bad things, and yes, from a personal perspective, yeah, he's a huge dick,
jackass,
but
huge jackass. Except,
sorry, I just want to say, but I mean, which we talk about, that doesn't mean that we should pick, option B. No offense to Hillary, I'm sure whatever, she's fine. I don't know anything about politics, but I mean, you don't just this is because someone says so and so here. I mean, you want the person who's best for the job. The personality and stuff, that's something deal with, on your own time. It's not. It's not about we have to talk about running the country, which is what a president does.
Mm-hmm. Also, the whole if there is like an Asian presidential candidate down the line, probably won't be, but that's okay. I'm not going to get bent in out of shape about that because we're too busy raising our kids and working our jobs. But like when Obama was running, and like everyone's like, if you're black, if you don't vote for Obama, you are a Tom. Wait, no, Uncle Tom. Yeah, or females who didn't vote for Hillary is like, well, you are just setting back the movement, the plight of the women. No. Maybe you're just like another candidate, and you can have your other reasons. And guess what? Your vote still counts, and it really doesn't matter what your reasons are. And it's racist and sexist, legitimately racist and sexist, to say that you have to vote for this person because they have the same pigmentation as you or the same gender as you.
Ooh, yeah, I totally agree. There's been a lot of interviews, a lot of people, a lot of women who stated, I would love to vote for my the first female president of the United States. They just don't want to be specifically Hillary. It's just a number of people just did not think she was right for the job, and that's fine. That's how you don't want to elect a person just because she'll be the first something. And I'm trying not to say that being anti-women. I would totally love a first female president. Gay president, first Asian, I don't care.
Whoa. Asian president can't drive.
They never drive anyways. They ever have a limo, bitch.
Yeah. How is he going to drive this country, Nick?
It's
country.
We fly.
Yeah. And I understand, rightfully so, African Americans play the slavery card. I get that. Women play the couldn't vote before 1920 glass ceiling card. I get that. What group in the past century was illegally rounded up and detained during World War II?
I don't know any of that. What are you talking about?
That's because us Japanese, we never bring it up because we don't care. We really don't.
You say us Japanese.
Us Japanese. Yeah.
You're Korean.
I'm a halfie.
Filipinos had to do a long walk. We don't talk about that, though.
Yeah, Nick and you and half your white privilege.
Amen.
All right. Nick and Son podcast. What is coming up on there?
A long explanation why I've been gone for so long on the show. I've been crazy busy with work, but I want to catch up on Halloween stuff, and hopefully kind of map out a schedule of what my podcast is going to lead to coming into winter, holidays. Going to be less frequently recording. I've been super busy with other projects right now. And
yeah, future shows we'll get back to like poop and babbling, and Muggs is starting to say the word no now, which is
that's a red flag. That's scary.
We'll get back to that, but I'm just trying to kind of vent a little bit. Yeah. If you want to support the show, tell a friend, let the word out, because you're in your mom's and dad's groups, and you run out of things to talk about. I mean, yeah, Mike is good and all, and his son Dylan is the worst. Dylan is the worst. But, once you're done talking about sports and beer and whatever and used to having fun, tell them about the Dad Mode podcast. We do the same thing in the mom groups as well. Show's available on iTunes and Stitcher and iHeartRadio. Follow us on Twitter at Dad Mode Pod, me and Andy Carlson Show, Nick at Nickason, and the website, as always, dadmodepod.com. But for Nick, I'm Andy, saying be a man, be a father, go Dad Mode, and we'll see you next time.
Think the episode you just heard is worth $1? Well, send it our way. Visit dadmodepod.com/support to find out how. Be a man, be a father. Go Dad Mode. The music is created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, visit soundcloud.com/Deeb.
Hey everyone, it's me, Nickason, aka Uncle Nick, co-host of the Dad Mode podcast. Before we begin the show, I thought I'd let you guys know about a side project I'm working on called the Nickason podcast. That's right, I am hosting my own podcast where I talk about the latest news in the entertainment world. From movies, television, music, anything pop culture, I talk about it on my show. So please check me out, the Nickason podcast. We air new episodes every Wednesday. Now, on with the show.